I'm delighted to invite Lisa Hook, CEO of Neustar, to come on up and join me for a fireside chat. Please welcome Lisa.
Thank you.
Welcome, Lisa.
Thanks.
So Lisa's been, as you know, been at Neustar for 7 years, was CEO of Sun Rocket, and held executive positions at AOL and Time Warner and Viacom, and you were even in private equity and investment banking, which we'll try not to hold against you.
By the way, I was at Viacom, which none of you remember, but it was pre-Viacom, pre-Sumner.
Yes,
I'm
that's
carbon
right.
dating myself.
He did change the pronunciation. So we just heard both from Brian and from Kevin about predictive analytics, about identity. I'm sure folks in the audience, I mean, it couldn't sort of be a better lead-in to talk about Neustar. I'm sure the folks in the audience are familiar with Neustar, but maybe a primer might help them in terms of exactly where you are in your product offerings.
Sure. So first of all, I want to thank Terry for inviting me. I am both pre-digital and non-marketing, so I have no business being in this room, and I appreciate you guys tolerating me. And it's your fault that I'm here. It's your fault that I'm in this.
I can think of 450 million reasons why you're in this room, but nonetheless.
So in reality, our core business is not marketing analytics. Our core business started about 20 years ago with identity. So in your business, probability is inconvenient and annoying. For instance, somehow all of these internet sites think that I'm a 65-year-old male with a Tesla. I find it extremely annoying that Cialis ads and penis enlargement ads follow me everywhere I go. I really don't know how most of you put up with it, but I mean, 12, 18, I don't know what. It's annoying, and it costs all of you a lot of money. But in my business, probability kills. We provide network addressing services for everybody in telecommunications in the United States, every call, every text message, and about 30% of all internet traffic globally. So when Terry calls 911, I cannot tell the 911 operator, oh, it's probably Terry, and he may live at this address. I can't be 60% right, I can't be 70% right, I can't be probabilistic. I don't have time to go through all this machine learning. I have to know in that moment, between the first and second ring, in 30 milliseconds, that is in fact Terry, and I have to be absolutely right about where he lives, because if I'm not, he's dead. So that's where we started. I know it's very serious sounding, but that's where we started, and that's what we do today. If we get identity wrong, people die. We get sued, we're in the press in a very negative way. On internet, on DNS, for instance, where we have 14,000 companies, people aren't dying, but it's pretty bad if we get the answer wrong. Right. If Terry wants to go to home.barclays and we send him to home.citibank, Barclays is pretty pissed off, or worse, if we don't send him anywhere and we just drop its DNS query. Similarly, if he navigates to home.barclays and Barclays says to me, is this guy anonymous or not? Hey, it's probably Terry, is really not good enough. Right. So in network addressing, we have to be absolutely, positively accurate, and again, within between 30 and 70 milliseconds, depending on the usage. Over the years, the financial services companies discovered that we had this capability to offer up authoritative identity in real time, and so our first branch out of network addressing was into credit risk and fraud. Terry is applying for a card online. We want to send the security code to his mobile phone. Is this, in fact, Terry's mobile phone attached to Terry, attached to this originating IP address? So we've been doing what you guys call multi-channel attribution for credit risk and fraud now for about 10 years. So our leveraging that into marketing actually seemed to be a pretty logical next step. Sure. I talked to Terry about it about 5 years ago as we were going into this, and he showed me that truly horrifying Lumascape. I went home, I had a couple glasses of Malbec and thought, this is for the birds. And I don't even understand the language these people are talking. But you know, we talked a lot about it, and it did turn out that we are where your market is going. If you are in live transactions, and all transactions, whether they're sales, healthcare, credit risk and fraud, whatever the transaction is, they will be going real time over the next several years. Again, whether it's online on your mobile, online on a PC, call centers, service companies are still doing 95% of their acquisition with people making inbound calls to set up their plans. It's not satisfying to say, this is probably Terry, you should maybe him offer this.
Right.
If you absolutely know that it's Terry, you can really render a delightful experience.
Yep.
So thank you very much. Do not show me the Lumascape again. I'm still quite terrified of the number of companies that are competing, but our view is that if we're able to tell our clients who it is, what they're likely to buy, that really is delightful. It increases the marketing effectiveness, decreases the cost. We see lift in every campaign of between 20 and 60%. And we acquired market share most recently because we are on the one-to-one kind of in-campaign targeting, verification, scoring, et cetera, with the authoritative ID, but we did not have the upfront planning tools. Yep. And so being able to take what market share has, which is historical campaign data, macroeconomic data, and then our one-to-one data, and put that into the overall upfront media mix modeling with the ability to create that virtuous cycle seemed to be, at least what Terry tells me, a marketer's dream.
Well, I mean, again,
I'm just trying to keep people from getting killed.
Well, no, actually, your sort of real-time application of our theory. So we're talking about this notion of, authoritative identity mixed with predictive analytics, and you've now done 3 transactions. I want to talk about that transformation of the company because you started in telecom, it's a very different world. You're now, as you mentioned, moving into marketing. What were some of the catalysts to that, whether exogenous or your own sort of proactive changes of the company?
So again, when we started off down this path, it was at the end of 2010, and about 80% of our revenues were in a network addressing service that updates every 7 seconds. We take in about 4 billion pieces of data a day, all around authoritative identity within classic telecoms networks. We were building out a managed DNS and recursive DNS business, and we had a number of top-level domains, .co, .us, .biz. We've since expanded that business to 450 brands, including, as I noted, .barclays, close to my heart, all of the sports leagues. And we started looking at, again, where else could we be using authoritative addressing? So it was really just a natural extension of the assets that we had and how could we repurpose those assets into incremental markets, again, starting in financial services and then broadening into marketing.
Right. Now, these acquisitions have been bold moves. It's a transition of the company. How do you go about either? What's the hardest part? Is it the identification of what capabilities can best service your transformation? Is it the integration? Is it the deal negotiations? What's been your experience in your 3 large deals so far?
So we have a giant Lumascape dartboard, and we just sit there and,
there you have it, folks.
Exactly. We've done a lot of, again, talking not just to Terry, but to CMO clients and prospects. What are the pain points in your life? The pain points for most people are, in fact, the Lumascape. I talked to my own CMO, whose primary pain point is me, and the CFO. And, again, coming from outside the marketing profession, when you're going through budget season, and I know we all are, I can look at every other department and derive an ROI on a dollar spend. And for the marketing department, that's really impossible. And the thing is, I know they have a huge amount of data, but if you look at all of the different piles of data and all of the different tools that has to be analyzed through, it's pretty impossible to figure out what the ROI is. So we really thought if we could come from the bottom up again with one-to-one marketing and then the top down with the planning, that would be an appropriate set of services to take to market. Fantastic companies like Oracle and Adobe, they're amazing and they have tons of execution skills. We will not be in the execution layer. That's not our primary goal, but the planning and the intelligence is really where we think that we can add the most value.
And staying objective.
Absolutely. Well, our core DNA is reliability, scalability, and neutrality. So again, when your core business is getting people to the hospital on time, You have to make sure that you're absolutely right. That means you have to be reliable. You have to be highly scaled. You have to be able to take in trillions of data elements every year and map them back to Terry. And then we have to be neutral. We serve every single company in telecom and online, and so we're not affiliated with any one provider or another, which we also think is going to serve us well in this environment where there are very large companies trying to build walled gardens.
Right.
You know, if you're a small business and you want to live within Google, that's terrific. We are not the company to provide services for them. They should just use the Google services. But if you're a larger brand and you're looking to play across publishers, you have to have a way to bring what Facebook and Google and AOL and others are saying back to this is in fact Terry.
Right. So we saw on the slide, there's a lot of big guys getting into this space. All the CRM folks are building their marketing clouds, IBM, SAP, Salesforce, Adobe. And then, of course, our prior speaker, Kevin, at Oracle, has done a lot of work and acquisitions in this area. And last time I checked, his market cap just a little bit bigger than Neustar.
Whatever.
How will you compete against these big guys?
I love competing against the big guys. It's the only place to be. We can move more rapidly. We can make our own decisions. You know, we are so fortunate to be in a disruptor position, right? I don't have anything that I need to protect. And we're coming at this with a clean slate. So I love being where we are. I would say we're all, frankly, in more of a co-opetition. So let's take IBM, unbelievably terrific company, building marketing as SaaS environments. But frankly, it's garbage in, garbage out, right? So if I've got your name wrong, they can throw this into the SaaS platform, they can map it to a cookie, but it's going to be maybe Terry, which has been onboarded to that cookie, not really Terry. So for us, it's the difference between really Terry and maybe Terry. In the old days, again, I'm pre-digital. I actually worked at Time Warner for a long time. We were huge in direct mail. You know, mailing something to Lisa Hook or Current Resident, that was terrific because Current Resident behaved exactly like Lisa Hook and was probably wealthier. So you know, so maybe Lisa Hook was great. But now, if you look at, again, online or on the phone, 90 million people in this country change their phone number every year. 60 million people move. 3 million people change their name, and not through marriage, which is weird. Terry.
It's the same.
So if you look at...
Except when it's James Bond.
Oh, exactly. I was giving you a layup there. Oh, my God. So if you look at what we call the golden record, name, address, mobile phone numbers, you have 100 records that are correct at the beginning of the year. About half of them are correct at the end of year one, about a quarter correct at the end of year two. So, you know, if I'm picking up the phone or I'm speaking to Terry online, if I'm not constantly refreshing my CRM, it's wrong. And that's, in fact, where we find a lot of opportunity at the beginning of the day was really just banging our knowledge of everybody in the United States up against client CRM and helping them correct it and then keep it correct and then segmenting. And then once you do that work, you've got something that you can push through IBM.
That's your core differentiator against those bigger guys. Final question. Kevin made reference to the consolidation and indicated he probably thought we were in the first inning. He's done a bunch of acquisitions and has got more to do. You've completed 3 major acquisitions in the space. I call that a good start. What is next for Neustar? Where do you go from here?
Are you trying to get me to foreshadow the acquisition of Oracle?
Yeah. Oh! There, you heard it here first, folks. Reverse hostile.
No, never hostile.
Never hostile. Larry, you heard that? Never hostile.
So I think, honestly, we're going to have to digest the market share acquisition for the next year. So it's a big one for us. It's got a number of people. We've got hundreds of clients who are already saying, close this thing and get in to see us. So right now, we think that we're pretty well situated. You know, there may be tiny pieces of technology that we'll pick up, but we like where we are, and we've got to slow down a bit here and digest the dinner.
Well, we were honored and delighted to be part of that with you. Thank you very much for this great conversation. Look forward to more from Neustar.
Thanks so much.